what's very interesting is that for Ylopo, which as you guys know, we're all about marketing, right? And so co-marketing is a really core piece of the value proposition that we want to offer to our clients. And we have 3,000 teams on our platform, and only about 1,500 of our teams have a co-marketing partner, right? And so, like, literally, for someone like Gary, half of his bill is entirely covered, maybe more, is entirely covered by, his partners, right? And it's not just across Ylopo, but it's across all of the crazy amount of lead generation, et cetera, that Gary is doing. But only half of our teams are really taking advantage of that, right? And not only that, but I'd say that every 90 days to 6 months, we see about 10 to 20% of our co-marketing partners shift and turn out, like churn out, and then you add add new ones and all this kind of stuff. And so, as big of a lift as co-marketing is in terms of someone literally paying for half of your bill, we're not seeing as much adoption of that as we would like, and as much stability of that as we would like, right? And so one of our big focuses this year is in helping you guys find more partners who can contribute in this regard, and then keeping them happy over a long period of time so they stay, right? So you're not constantly chasing new folks, new folks, new folks, and proving out the value. I think what Grant has built that is super compelling is not only a methodology for you to find the right co-marketing partners, but giving them the analytics and giving them the data to show that you are consistently adding value to them, right? Because that's the number one thing I hear from co-marketing partners, which is, where's my ROI, right? Like, I can't see my ROI. And so they have a struggle with contextualizing, what they're contributing to, right? And I think that Grant has really built a great platform for the finding, and then just as important, the retaining of co-marketing partners. And that's why we wanted to introduce you to this product to the community. This won't be the first time, only time we talk about this. We want to weave this into a lot of different, conversations we have with our clients over time. But really, usually, like, we come to these webinars and I'm like, we're not trying to pitch you anything, right? Like, this is, a product and a process that I think we on the Ylopo side really believe in, that's going to help you guys reduce how much money you're paying, or selfishly spend more because you have more dollars to work with from a co-marketing perspective, right? So that's my spiel.
Well, yeah, and I know for me, Grant and I have had several talks with regards to the concept behind what he's going to go over, and I'll just tell you guys, it's definitely a no-brainer for me. And just like G was saying, it's not like a financial Ylopo thing directly, but I know for me, I know that to be able to leverage my team's production, obviously not as big as Gary's, but still doing 600 transactions a year, to be able to leverage that revenue and bring in more co-sponsors, for me, is just such an exciting topic. So I've heard Grant speak on it before, but I'm excited to listen to him go over it again today.
Awesome.
Go,
Go
Grant.
for it, Grant. Oh, Gary, you want to introduce yourself real fast? We just introduced you, but do you want to talk
Oh,
about your participation?
yeah, Gary Ashton, have the #1 Remax team in the world, and had that for 6 or 7 years. But what I've done is what most people have done: is they have their circle of preferred vendors that they work with, which is the big three that we always talk about: is mortgage, title, insurance. I always forget moving, but then it's all the other peripheral vendors that you use that are part of actually being in the home, living in the home, which is then you start thinking about HVAC, electrical, painters, gardeners, dog sitter. I mean, the house is the multiplier for so many services that people use. And as an agent, you were essentially the gatekeeper for that, because if you were moving from LA to Nashville, well, in LA, you may have built up that network of people that you use as your preferred vendors, as it were. Well, when you come to Nashville, you don't know anybody. So who's going to be the the conduit for that is going to be the agent that's going to help you. So that all leads into what Grant's going to explain now, but it's leveraging your contacts, your presence, your experience, your knowledge, and your credibility to be able to make these kind of introductions to you. I mean, essentially, it's adding value to your clients, but also adding value to your vendors. And then there's a two-way back and forth that Grant's going to go over.
That's awesome. Thanks, Gary.
You're welcome.
I remember, because I've been able, like I said, I've been in the real estate industry for a long time. So I've been able to work with some of the top teams in the US and Canada. And I remember pretty vividly when Gary and I were working together on another project, I kept noticing this trend with him and with a lot of other teams is like, you guys send out a ton of referrals to home service providers, but you're not getting any reciprocity. Like nobody's actually giving you referrals back. And then you're also not getting paid anything for all of these referrals that you send. And I got to a point where it's like, I can't really put this down. Like I have to like focus on this. And I asked Gary if I could just step in and do some stuff. And I'll never forget, like pretty much within the first week, we generated roughly $7,000 in monthly recurring revenue into the business. Just calling people that we already knew, that we already had relationships with, that we were already sending referrals to, and kind of presenting them with this packaged opportunity. It's like, hey, now we have a new preferred program. We'd love for you guys to participate in it. And I think that the response probably surprised me, and I don't know if it surprised Gary or not. Sometimes Gary's like, I don't think that's going to work, but it really did. And it was an idea I think Gary had for a long time, just in a different way, and we kind of brought both of our brains together and built. But the thing is, like, we learned a lot about what to do, and I spent an entire year on the phone selling this for myself and for teams and for those things. And so I learned a lot what to do, and I learned a lot about what not to do. And I think that that's probably even more impactful. So what I'm going to show you today is just the culmination of a couple of years of work in helping different real estate teams throughout the US and Canada build out these preferred partner programs. And you should be able to take a lot of what I teach you today and just immediately go apply it to your own business. I don't have some, G, I appreciate G giving me the opportunity. I don't have any like big polished pitch or anything like that I'm going to present to anybody. And it doesn't even cost you any money to sign up for comarketing.com. So it's not like I'm going to ask you to spend a bunch of money here today. My intention in the real estate space is to just get you paid, like help you make as much money as possible so that you can use those funds to offset lead expenses, to offset tech expenses, to offset team expenses. And I'm going to show you step by step today exactly what we did, exactly what I did when I stepped into Gary's business and what I've done for some other people. So I'm going to share my screen and walk through a few points. The thing that I would love if you would all share is just sit back and think for just a second. Outside of mortgage, outside of title, outside of home warranty, how many referrals would you say that you as an individual agent or as a team send out on a monthly basis to home service providers? I've talked to solo agents that literally send 30 referrals a month. I've talked to teams that send 12 referrals a month. And then I've talked to teams that send hundreds a month. So how many referrals would you say, if you just had to stop and think about it, passively have you been sending out to home service providers on an ongoing basis because you need a mover for a deal, you need a roofer to inspect, you need a plumber to look at something, you need an HVAC company or an electrician or a cleaning company or a lawn maintenance company? How many referrals would you say that you send on a monthly basis that you just build up that network? I've seen 3 to 4 in the comment section, and then I don't see a whole lot beyond that. So one of two things is happening. Either you're not paying attention, awkward pause, and I need you to pay attention if you're going to get the most out of this presentation. Or 2, you don't actually send out referrals to home service providers, and you haven't really thought that this is something that could enhance your business with minimal effort on an ongoing basis. So I see 3 to 4 a month. I see 12 to 15, which is awesome. I don't know a lot about you guys' business, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to take those referrals. You're already doing 90% of the work, and just plug in a solution that helps you start monetizing all of the referrals that you send out to people. So that way you can start to offset expenses for the business. This is a time in real estate where we need all the help that we can get. Like, we need the extra revenue, we need the new line items on the P&L. Like, we really need as much revenue as we possibly can bring into the business. And I'm going to show you how to go grab some of that today. So I'm going to share my screen and just kind of walk through briefly this little presentation. And then I'll show you guys some things. So how to get paid to generate leads, this co-marketing strategy that can help you cover all of your Ylopo ad budget, or help you increase your Ylopo ad budget so you guys can sell more houses. So the first question everybody always asks me is, can I do this legally? Like, can I actually do this? Sounds like something that I'm not supposed to be doing. And so here's what we at comarketing.com, here's what we don't do. We don't do this with mortgage and title. We don't do this with mortgage with title and escrow. We don't do it with insurance, and we don't do it with home warranty. RESPA's guidelines are very clear on how to work with industries that monetarily benefit from a real estate transaction. And so we don't touch these industries. And what we found is that a lot of people already have relationships in those industries anyway, which we think is perfect. You guys should continue to do business with those people the way that you have been. This is who we do this with: contractors, home inspectors, moving companies, roofing companies, HVAC companies, plumbing companies, handymen. There are 30 industries, 30, that rely on real estate agents to get business. 30 different categories, billions of dollars in annual revenue, that rely on the relationship that they have with a local real estate agent to grow their business. And these are the top 8 categories that I've found doing this over the last couple of years that you should go after. Most of you probably already know somebody in each of these categories: movers, painters, handyman, HVAC, electric, plumber, solar, and roofing. These are the best categories that I've seen to partner with, in that you can refer them the most and they pay the most. So this really makes it easy to get started doing this. Most of you could call your mover today and they would likely want to partner with you in this capacity. So simply because you're already sending so much business. So yes, you can do this legally, ethically, morally, and I think you actually have an obligation to do this, because you need to find new revenue channels that you can add to the business. So I'm going to dive in here and show you how we do this. Step 1, where to easily find home service providers who are willing to pay you. There's 2 ways that I discovered that you could do this. You could do it actively, meaning you actually take the time and dedicate, an hour a week, 2 hours a week to building these partnerships. Or you can do it passively, meaning that you just get ready, like you build we call it a preferred partner program. And whenever a vendor calls you and says, hey, I'd love to partner with you, you have a strategy for working with them. Hit me up in the comments section. How many of you have already been called at least twice? It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon where I'm at, by ADT. Like, you guys are the most cold called to industry in existence. You've always got people calling you. Many of you just don't know what to say. You don't know what to offer. You don't know how to do it. And so you just blow them off.
Several yeses, by the way,
Several yeses.
in the
The
chat.
reason that you don't want to blow these people off is because of what I call the brand halo effect. When you partner with other companies in your area, maybe even companies that are bigger than you, what you're doing is you're transferring trust from one entity to the other. You're making yourself look bigger than you actually are. And so you're a part of that brand halo. If this other company has a great brand, great reputation in the marketplace, and then now you're one of their trusted partners, then you will also become one of the trusted brands in the marketplace. So especially the newer you are, the more you want to do something like this, because you associate yourself to larger brands. So always be ready, because the people are going to come. The people are going to contact you. And I already asked the question, how often do you get hit up by vendors and want your business? You're answering yes, a lot. So be ready. The second strategy is just actively spend an hour to 2 hours a week setting up these partnerships for yourself. There's 2 ways to do that. 1, make a list of people you already know. Do you know a mover? Do you know a roofer, an electrician, a painter, an HVAC company, a flooring company, a cleaning company, a lawn and landscape company? Think about all of the home services related to owning a house. You probably already have a lot of these relationships. So the first step is just make a list of people you know. The second step is simple Google search. Mover in San Diego, mover in Northwest Arkansas, mover in Nashville, Tennessee. All of you can use Google to search this. And if you don't want to, I actually have a little cool tool I'll show you in a minute where I have scraped Google and I can give you all of the highest rated service providers in your area in a click of a button. But you can make a list of people you know, and you should. That's what we did with Gary. He already had a great list of vendors that he had been referring business to for a long time. So it was just a phone call, literally 5 minutes. Hey, I'm with Gary Ashton team. We're putting a preferred partner program. We've been referring you business for years. Do you want to be a part of it? Yes, no. Yes, okay, cool. Let's meet tomorrow at 2 and I'll show you what the program is. It was so simple because the value had already been built. The relationship had already been built. And so that's exactly what we did with Gary. I stepped into Gary's business. I'd already been a part of it for a little while, and he just said, "Hey, Gary, can I build this preferred vendor program and go out and start bringing in new money into the organization in a way that nobody else is doing it?" And so I called the mover, I called the painter, I called the roofer, I called the builder, I called just everybody that Gary's like, "Okay, yeah, you can call all of these people." And that was my script. Hey, I'm Grant Wise with the Ashton Real Estate Group. We've been doing business together for a long time. We're rolling out a new preferred partner program, and we were wondering if you would like to be a part of it. It is a paid partnership opportunity, and I would love to meet with you for just 5 or 10 minutes and show you what it looks like. And all of them said yes, because obviously it was Gary Ashton. I've worked with other teams. The yeses weren't as easy. Obviously, we had to work a little harder, but that's literally all we did. We just made a list. But there were some categories that Gary didn't have relationships. And so I'm going to go into what we did in those situations. And that's what led me to this, the positioning. How you position this is critical to your success. If you just pick up the phone and sell people stuff, you guys all have experience with that. It doesn't typically go well. You have to make an enormous amount of calls before you actually get somebody to want to sit down and have a conversation with you. And if you're like me, I'm an internet marketer. I am not a cold caller. Like, I don't like picking up the phone and calling people and talking to people. I don't answer my phone when people call me unless it's Gary or Barry. Like, and I'm just saying that. I do actually answer the phone when they call because I know them. But we are cold called to all the time. Nobody wants to pick up their phone. And even the leads that you guys get that opt into your business don't always want to pick up the phone. Like, so I just do not like it. I don't enjoy it. I called once when I got started in business and somebody told me to F off. I literally never picked up the phone and cold called somebody ever again. Like, I went straight to internet marketing and I tried to figure out a new way because it sucked. So if you're like Barry, you're built for this. If you're like me, you are absolutely not. So I hated cold calling. I did not want to do it. But because of the way that I positioned it, I never had a conversation with somebody that felt cold. And that was huge. I was happy to talk to as many people as I needed to because every time I would call somebody, they wanted to talk to me. And that's the first point that I would make to you guys. These businesses that are out in your community want partnerships. They want relationships with you. As a matter of fact, they're looking for relationships with you. You've just never really had like an easy, frictionless way to do business with them, which is what you've got here. So when we came across categories that Gary didn't have, the pool company is one of them. And here's what we did. We added them to what I called a referral list. So I called a couple people that we didn't know, and they're like, "No, I don't want to do this. Thanks, anyways. I don't." They get called by Angie's List, House, Thumbtack all the time. They're also being cold called too all the time. And so I just picked up the phone and said, "Hey, I'm with the Ashton Real Estate Group. We're the largest real estate team in Nashville, and we're looking for pool companies that we can add to our referral registry. Doesn't cost you anything. I was wondering if you would be open to a referral relationship." And that's when I discovered that, like, if we did this in a 2-step sales process, it would work. And it did. If you're in real estate, you have a 2-step sales process already. You're already doing this. Because when a buyer calls you to have a brief discussion about buying a property, you do a little bit of a discovery and then you set up buyer consultation, which is where you actually close them. If a seller wants to sell their property, you do a 10 or 15-minute discovery call and then you go do a listing presentation to actually close them. All of you are already doing this 2-step sales process. So what I would do is just pick up the phone and say, "Hey, I'm the Ashton Real Estate Group. We're building out a referral registry. It doesn't cost you anything. You will be listed with a few other pool companies." That's what they didn't like, because now they know they have competition. And so they're already kind of looking for a way that they could become exclusive. So I use the referral registry as my step one. Free, will add you to the list. All the agents will know you. If they choose you, they'll call you. Step two, at the end of the call, I would just offer them to, I would say, hey, do you have any interest in becoming exclusive? If so, let's meet again in a couple of days and I'll share what that looks like. And this is what we would do. And every business I called was open to talking to me, because if they mistreated me, I could just go online and leave a bad review. Not that I would, but the conversation, the quality of conversations is just so much different because it's B2B, people actually wanting to do more business. That changed everything. I called 10 pool companies. I added 6 of them to my referral list for Gary. 2 or 3 of them booked time to talk about being preferred, and then 1 of them signed up. Those were my stats. Total time, I spent an hour calling. I spent 30 to 60 minutes. I think it was just about 40, 45 minutes in appointments for the pool category. Closing the deal took 10 minutes. So 2 hours of work turned into over $1,000 per month in the business. How many of you would spend 2 hours of your time to generate over $1,000 in monthly recurring revenue that you could use to grow your business? Hit me with a yes, a fire emoji, a thumbs up, a bomb, a mind blown, a mad face, like whatever emotion you're feeling right now. Just drop it in the comment section. How many of you would spend an hour or two to generate $1,000 a month in your business? I'm gonna hit the comment section because I want to see if we have some smart business people on here or not. We have some thumbs up. We have some yeses. Even Gary's got a thumbs up. Still willing to do it. Barry with some money signs, of course. Okay, of course we would. This is a smart thing to do if you own a business, is to figure out new ways to get that business to make money. It took less time when we were already referring people business. So the moving company, it was like a 30-minute ordeal. It took even less time. It takes even less time when other companies are already reaching out to us. So about the time that we started this, Gary had a painting company reach out to them. It's called Nash Painting. And we jumped on the phone for like 10 minutes and he was like, yes, I'm in. I want to be a part of this. And so it's like, this is something that you guys are all already doing. You're all already referring business. You're all already getting bombarded by companies that want to work with you, but maybe you don't have like an easy way to do business with those people. And that's really what having what we call a preferred partner program solved. And that's what I'm going to go into next, which is what do we offer them so that they will want to pay us? Because I see some of those questions like, okay, what are they giving us for $1,000? What is the pool company expecting for that money? So secret number 2 is what to offer home service providers so that they want to pay you. Hit me in the comment section. What do home service providers want? Just use one word. It's kind of the same thing that you as a business owner want in your real estate company. Like, what do we all want? Hit me in the comment section. I want to see business, yes, leads, sales, 100%. Every home service provider that I've talked to, and now I've talked to thousands, they all just want leads. They need more leads to grow their business just like you do. The thing that they really want are high quality leads. How many of you really want high quality leads that take less follow-up, less communication, less interaction? You just get the lead, you call, you set the appointment, and everything is good to go. We all want more high quality opportunities. But the problem that home service providers have right now is that they're paying for leads that they have to share with their competitors. This is why I love Ylopo, because you can generate exclusive leads to grow your real estate business without having to fight a bunch of other real estate agents and or companies. And this is the same challenge that home service providers are experiencing. They're already paying Angie and House and Thumbtack to buy leads to grow their business, but as soon as they get that lead, they instantly have to share it with 3 of their competitors. So it's a race to see who can actually follow up with somebody the fastest. So this is what we offered: exclusive leads. We found the biggest problem they had, and we solved it by giving the people what they wanted, which is just exclusive leads to grow their moving company, to grow their roofing company, to grow their painting company, to grow their business. And that's all you have to offer the people that you go out and partner with. But the truth is, They're already paying everybody. This is the number one thing I hear from real estate agents who have somehow been gaslit into thinking you don't deserve to make money in your company is, why would they want to pay me? Because they need high quality leads to grow their business. That's why they would want to pay you. They're already paying everybody else. They're paying Facebook, they're paying Google, they're paying Angie's List, they're paying House, they're paying Thumbtack, they're paying this person, they're paying that person. They just aren't paying you yet, because you haven't really had a way to do that. And we've really solved that. This is something that blew my mind as I watched it in Gary's business and I watched it in other teams' business. When the vendors started paying, they started paying more attention. You guys have all been approached by vendors that are like, oh yeah, give me business. I'm going to give you business when I get that opportunity back. How many of you actually get referrals from people that say that to you? I would imagine it's almost zero. Vendors that pay attention. The vendors started showing up to the team meetings. They started being more engaged with the agents. They started connecting more in the Facebook group. They started doing more in Gary's business, and they started doing more in the other teams that I got to work with because they were paying. So I'm going to ask you, like, do you want to work with people that just want to take from you? Or do you want to work from people that are actually invested in you, invested in your growth? That answer for me is very easy. I want to work with people that are actually invested in the growth of my company, that believe in me, believe in the value I have to offer. And I don't want to work with anybody else. I don't want to work with people that are just going to take from me. Those are not the most healthy kinds of relationships. Vendors that pay attention. Don't forget this. So when you get what we call a preferred partner or a preferred vendor or a home service provider in your VIP program, they value the relationship more because they're paying for it. And I know that's a little bit of a mindset shift for some, but it's something that you really want to pay attention to. This is my friend Ibrahim. He is in Canada. We work with him in Toronto. I also work with Justin Haber in Calgary, Alberta, and I work with some others. But Ibrahim kind of had the same thoughts. Like, we've been talking about building a vendor program for years. We didn't know what to do. We didn't know what to say. We didn't know what to offer. We didn't know how to price it. We didn't know how to formalize it. Like, we didn't know how to do all of this stuff. And so I told Ibrahim the same thing. I'm like, look, we've made it really easy. Let us just step into your business and kind of take this over for you. Here's what he decided to offer to all of the vendors that he worked with. He wanted to give them exclusivity. He wanted to give them a referral tracking system, which is comarketing.com. We make that available, so that makes it really easy for you to send and receive the leads, or send the leads rather, and receive payment. We give them a website, meaning that the vendors would be listed on the website. Then they wanted to allow them to network with the other preferred vendors. They wanted to do a lot of marketing about the vendor to their agents, so they knew that would increase the awareness and adoption in their team. And then they wanted to let the vendors come into the team meetings, because they knew if they could come in there and they could network, that would help cultivate that relationship. And then ultimately the agents would refer more business to the vendor. And then that obviously translates to an increase in how much money the team can earn, because more money or more leads are being sent out to the home service providers. So this is what I call an offer, or an offer stack. This is our preferred vendor program, preferred partner program. And this became pretty universal. I've seen this same plan work pretty much no matter where we've ever ran it. Some agents don't do team meetings, so then you just take that off, not a big deal. Some people don't have a big team, so they do more social media marketing about the vendor to their social media, to their following, to their email list. And I think that's an amazing strategy, because you're already needing to create content. So why not create content with a vendor who maybe even already has a bigger audience than you? Because when you put all that video stuff together, not only are you going to be able to share it and look bigger than maybe you are, get that brand halo effect, you're also going to be able to tap into something called syndication, which is where you're putting your two audiences together and you become bigger as one. So when you start sharing that content, you are putting yourself in a position to get exposed to their audience. Now you finally have that opportunity to actually start getting those referrals back. I know some teams that I've started teaching how to do this. They grow on YouTube. That's primarily their strategy. So they're interviewing their home service providing partners, putting that video on YouTube with their unique link. Now, every time that video gets watched, if that person needs to get a moving quote, they literally, their videos now are making them money because they have this new way to partner with vendors. So this is the preferred partner program we put together. And the other question people always ask, like, how much do each of the vendors pay? This is the hack that I discovered. Most companies right now are experiencing a little bit of a diminishing return. Most home service providers are experiencing a little bit of a diminishing return on their ad dollar because the cost of acquisition with Facebook for them, Google, Angie's List, House, Thumbtack has kind of risen. And so if you can price this so that your partners get essentially a 10x return on their co-marketing spend with you, they're gonna spend as much money as they possibly can with you. And what I did, I wanted to give you guys this. I built a little calculator for you, and I'll make sure to share this with the team so that way you guys get access to it. But it's all the different industries that you can work with, and it is really simple. So all we do is we take their average revenue per job. The average mover in Nashville, as an example, is going to make $2,000 a move. Their target CAC, which is customer acquisition cost, is roughly 10% of their total revenue. Again, that gives them that 10x return. Meaning if they're going to do a job for $2,000, they want to be able to spend $200 to get that customer. And if the typical conversion rate is, let's say, 25%, that means that if you send them 4 leads, they're going to close 1 deal. Then the average cost that you could sell that lead for is $50. Simple math. If you go to a moving company and say, hey, I have this new preferred partner program, would love to partner with you. You're going to be my exclusive mover. Every time I send you a lead, I've done the math, it's going to be approximately $50 a lead. You should close 25% of the leads I send you. Your cost of acquisition is $200. They're going to do that deal all day long because they're already spending money with everybody in the world, and they are not getting these types of returns. So you're basically guaranteeing them an 8 to 10x return on their ad dollar because of this. And if the conversion rate's lower, you just lower how much you sell the lead for. If the conversion rate's higher, you increase how much you sell the lead for. I always say start conservatively. This is something that we discovered as we were doing a lot of subscription-based pricing, where we would get the mover actually to pay up front for an extended period of time. And we saw what that did is it kind of creates a little instant tension in the relationship where the expectations are high. Like, I need to get business from this really soon or I'm going to cancel. That's something that G talked about whenever we got started, is there's a lot of churn when you're paying for something up front. You then have immediate expectations of the types of results you're going to get. And if you don't get those, you bail sooner rather than later. So when we switched over to performance-based pricing, which is just selling it on a cost per lead basis, we found that the relationships almost never cancel, like they never end, because they're only paying when they get a lead, and you've already engineered the math so that they're gonna get the types of returns they want. So you're getting these really sticky partnerships that don't go anywhere. It's not like if you're gonna generate a lead from Ylopo and then instantly just automatically forward that lead to the mover. I'm not saying to do that. We tested it, it didn't work. Okay, so learn from our mistakes. It was painful. I'm saying whenever you get somebody that says, hey, Barry, I need a good mover. Do you know anybody that would be good for me to work with? Yes, I have a preferred mover, and I'm going to send you over to them right now. Expect a call, by this afternoon. You send the lead through the system. Their card gets charged. You get paid. They get the lead. And so this is the pricing strategy that we found that worked the absolute best. Is engineer it so they can get a 10x return. And when you start stacking this, you get $50 here, $20 here, $15 here, $30 here, $75 here. All of a sudden, you're making thousands of dollars extra a month for doing something, again, that you are already doing, which is sending these leads out to these home service providers. But to do this and to be able to do it at scale, you have to be able to track it. This is what you said in the call, like, I got to track my ROI. I got to track my ROI. I got to track my ROI. If you just send them leads, they're not going to associate that those leads came from you. You have to do this in a way that it can be tracked. So that takes me to my last secret number 3, how to send referrals in an easy way so that you can get paid. You want to do it in a way that isn't just making text introductions. This is what a lot of agents do. And this is still even admittingly what a lot of agents, not a lot of agents, but agents on a team do, is they'll end up making text introductions. If they don't go through the system, it's kind of like our rules for follow-up, Barry and Gary. It's like, if it didn't happen in FUB, it didn't happen. If it didn't happen in comarketing.com, it didn't happen. Like, I can't track it. I can't actually help you prove that you sent business to anybody. So you have to use the system. And if you want to keep making text intros, do it, but still send leads through a system that allows the vendor to track their return. So you've got to make sure that that happens. And your partners, they want to know where the leads are coming from, and they want to know what kind of ROI they're getting. So this is my friend Steven. He is in Wichita. And we got him partnered up with a company called Roth Heating and Air. And we called after 90 days to check on their relationship. And Roth Heating and Air was actually thinking about canceling. And they were just paying a few $100 a month, but still, it's a small business in Kansas. They want to make sure they're getting a return. And we asked them if they could go look at their records and verify how much business they had gotten from the team, because we saw no leads flow through the platform. But they were saying, the team was saying, we sent them a bunch of business, and Roth was saying, we're getting no business from this team. So it was a bit of a conundrum. We reached out, we got them to do a manual review. It turns out they had gotten 19 referrals in just 90 days. 19 referrals from this one team. They just didn't know that it came from the team. Because what was happening is the team guy was saying, hey, we got a new deal for you, or texting him a deal, or sending him an email. Guys, these home service providers is just as busy as you are. If you don't put this stuff through systems and processes that they've built, they can't track it. So that ended up being something like a deal we saved. We did the math on this the other day, and that HVAC company has paid the team around $2,000. They've generated over $12,000 in business for their company. You have to do this in a way that it can be tracked. So that fixed the problem. Obviously, the team started sending the deals through the system, and we could track everything. But you want to use a simple lead form that pushes the lead to the vendor via email and text, and makes it really easy to send the leads. And it makes it easy for other people to request service, so that way that you can get credit. And that's what we've done for Gary, and we've done it for everybody else, is we actually built a website for you. It automatically creates whenever you, it automatically gets created whenever you create your comarketing.com account. And all of your preferred partners live on this site. So if you need to send the lead, you have your own unique links, and they have their own profile page. So you can go here, you can fill out the contact information of the person, you can select the category, what service, and then who is it that actually referred the business to the team. So that way we can always attribute that success to the agents. And I think, run contests with your agents, give rewards. Gary and them do some really cool stuff with their agents. They actually give out, I believe it's a vacation. Maybe Gary can talk a little bit more about this at the end of every year. But to the people that refer the most business to their home service providers and or their mortgage partners and their insurance partners. And so we create this site for you. We make it really easy. Literally, the minute you create your account, this page gets created. And as you start adding partners to it, this just gets filled out. And we even see people like Justin Haver, who also is on comarketing.com, #1 in Canada. They embed this right on their website. So all of their clients can come to this page, and they can see all of the different preferred service providers that they've got that they work with. So we make this easy for you, but you've got to make it easy, not just on yourself. You've got to make it easy for the vendor so that they can track it, because they're not going to give you credit for this. Like they're literally going to cancel. They're going to stop paying you if they can't attribute the fact that they're getting business from you. They will spend money, but they've got to be able to measure their ROI, or it's a no-brainer. So hopefully this makes sense for everybody. Today, I wanted to show you 3 really simple things. I wanted to show you how to find partner and profit off the leads that you send to home service providers, how to find really good partners that are kind of geographically located to you, how to partner with them, what to offer to them, what to say to them, how to price it, and then how to profit in an easy way, which is just building a little website, which I've already done for you, and sending all the leads through this system. And that was my main goal today. Now, I know that there's probably some questions, and it looks like I've done a decent job on time, so we've got a few minutes to answer those questions. But what I would say is if you are ready to earn enough money to cover your Ylopo spend, maybe even a little bit more, so you start offsetting those expenses, I would love to show you literally every step of this process: how to create your preferred program, how to find the partners, how to price it, how to onboard them, how to send the leads, and how to scale these really successful partnerships. And so if you are interested in connecting with me so that I can walk you and your team through how to do this, I'm going to throw this QR code up and then we'll open it up for questions, Barry. You guys can scan this. It'll give you a link right to my calendar. And then we can set a time where we can talk about how you can take your co-marketing, or how you can start doing co-marketing, how you can start getting paid for the referrals that you send out to home service providers. So Barry, I'll open it up, man, if you got any questions, or if anybody
Yeah,
else has
yeah.
questions.
I mean, dude, it's so funny when you do a webinar like this, you can tell the topic and the teaching nailed it because of the number of questions, and there was just so many people engaged as you were talking. I think partially because I know when I heard you go over this, I'm just not used to things making so much sense. Like normally there's a catch, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
what you're really good at, in my experience and working with you over the last decade, is you're just really good at creating scenarios where everybody wins. And I run my business the same way, which is why I picked up. And that's what this is all about. It's setting something. You're not screwing vendors, you're not screwing your clients, and you're not taking a hit as the business owner. Everybody is gaining something. People were asking, like, is this monthly or per lead? I think you explained that already, that that's not really how it works, but do you want to speak to that quickly?
Yeah, everybody always asks this question, and I'm appreciative for. I think if I'm understanding the question,
Yeah.
um, is how often are the vendors paying?
Yeah.
And what I've seen works the best is doing performance based. So basically, when you send a lead is when you get paid. So if I send a lead to the moving company today, I sent them a lead and I made $50. Outside of that, like, they're not getting billed on an ongoing basis. I've just seen that works the best. When you set it up where they're paying like $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month, you're kind of creating pressure in the relationship that
Yeah.
doesn't have to exist. So I've always kind of encouraged people to go more for performance-based billing, and that means they're only paying when they actually get a lead, and that really works the best in the
Yeah,
relationship.
no, I think it makes sense. And then you can just work out practically what that looks like, how you're sending it to them and all that stuff.
We teach everybody how to go through that little exercise. We actually give everybody a calculator, so you know exactly, like, this isn't something arbitrary where you're just sending an invitation to a random moving company and saying, hey, you're going to start paying me $50 a lead from now on. Like,
Right.
that doesn't obviously work. Typically, you're having a conversation with a moving company and you're saying, okay, hey, what's your average revenue per job? And you're doing the math so that way you know what to sell the lead for. And we teach all of our clients how to do that.
Okay. And then, when you were going over the website for the vendor, people were asking, like, was there an extra cost for the website for the vendors?
No,
All right.
no. What we do is, as soon as you create your comarketing.com account, and everybody on here, just so you know, like, it doesn't cost you any money to have a comarketing.com account. So I highly encourage you to get on comarketing.com. Comarketing mastery is for those that, like, really want to go all in and they want to make this part of their business, and you kind of want us to hold your hand and help you do this. Anybody can go to comarketing.com right now and create an account, and then instantaneously we create that website for you, and it doesn't cost you or anybody else any money. It's just something that you have that makes it really easy to send the referrals and the leads whenever you've got them.
Got it. Got it. And then uh finding reliable and honest and competent partners is a challenge for one person. What would you say to that?
Yeah, it is for sure. So we built you actually this little cool discover tool. Whenever you go into comarketing.com, this is what the platform looks like. Let's say that I need to find a handyman in Rogers, Arkansas, where I live. So what we did is we built an API to Google, and we automatically filter out all of the highest rated to lowest rated service providers in your area. So I can see right now that if I needed a handyman in this area, then I can pick up the phone, Oh, that says Rogers, Minnesota, so it's confused. Hold on. If I go Rogers, Arkansas, boom, which is where I live, and then I click that. So now I can see the highest rated, highest reviewed service providers in my area. So it's like, okay, handyman connection. What I learned is like if you go after the highest reviewed companies, meaning they have the most reviews and they're also the highest rated, typically that's the intersection in quality where we don't have a lot of the problems that you would have. Like I probably would never call this person with JW Handyman and Carpentry because they only have 2 reviews on Google. Not to say that they maybe don't do really good work. A lot of us might know service providers that just don't get a lot of reviews on Google. I've met that before. But if I don't have the relationship and I want to go partner with somebody, I'm going to find the people that are the highest rated and highest reviewed. And here's another thing, I'm not going to worry about price. Because if I'm going to put my reputation on the line and actually recommend a service provider, I want to make sure that they're actually the best service provider. I don't want to just partner with anybody and everybody. I want to really partner with people that can do quality work. And usually they're having a really high rating on Google and a high volume of reviews is like, okay, this company is bigger. They know how to take care of their customers. They do a really good job.
Yeah. Okay. So Jim writes, you got his wheels spinning. I guess he went on the website, grabbed the FAQ and copied. Is there a monthly fee? Nope. Co-marketing deducts 13% from what you earn. So I guess that's from your FAQ on your website.
Yeah. Whenever you set up an invitation, let's say you go have a conversation with somebody and you're like, yes, let's do this. You can come right on to the platform and pick what your performance, what type of payment plan you've set up with these people. But then whenever you do that, let's say it's $50 a lead and a moving company is going to give you a $500 a month budget, you can actually see the spend breakdown. So you can see how much the vendor would be charged per lead. You can see what the co-marketing fee is, what the payment processing fee is, and then you can see how much you actually earn. Some people pass that fee on to the service provider and they just say, hey, it's $56.75 a lead. Some people will pass that fee on to they will just assume the fee and just get a smaller net payout, and then some people will split it. It doesn't matter to us what you do. It's just that's how we make our money, is a percentage of whatever the spend is.
Yeah, got it. Makes total sense. And then I think that also answers James' question. Just do you actually collect the revenue and remit it back to us?
Yeah. Whenever you create your account, you can start referring immediately. And then whenever you actually earn money, you just go through a little Stripe Connect process that you add your bank account. So we collect the money and then we automatically send it over to you. So Stripe has a 48-hour payment processing time. So it's Tuesday. If one of you got paid $50 today, that money would be direct deposited into your account by Thursday.
Okay. Yeah. And somebody also asked, can we get a copy of your spreadsheet, which you're going to give? You want to give that to Michelle and then we can create a process for you to send it? Or how would you like to send that spreadsheet out?
I'm good to post it in the comment section, or I can also send it to Michelle.
The comment section of this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people would probably, I mean, that's probably the easiest. They're here.
I just posted that in the comment section. You guys can make a copy of that and then you can play around with the numbers. But I just posted that there so you guys have it.
Now, when you say you guys, was that for everybody in attendance?
Yes, but I only sent it to the host and panelists. So
Jim, yes, we actually just launched this service, the comarketing.com. I just conceptually, I'm just really excited about it because it stays away from all the rest of the stuff. And like, I just have really gotten a hold of the concept that my real estate business, there's a reason why the tax code in America incentivizes real estate purchases the way that they do, because it stimulates the economy, right? And so as a high performing business owner, team owner, real estate business owner, I not only am a part of an important segment of the economy, but my referrals, my client is trusting me. And so these people are thriving off of what we're doing. And, it's one thing to give it to the roofer and say, hey, like, man, and we kind of come from scarcity, and we're like, "Oh, I'm giving you all this stuff and you're making all this money. I want something, and then we call them and ask them to sponsor a client event, and it's like a shakedown. And so we avoid it.
Yeah.
With this, it's a partnership. Like I'm literally monetizing something that I was going to do already over the next 6 months. It's just now I'm coming to them, and instead of making it a shakedown for my client events, I'm saying, hey, as I get leads, do you want me to send them to you? And the way that I approach with the lenders and what we're going to do with the vendors is say, look, I've got 3 people that I'm thinking of for this role. You were the first one I thought of. You probably have better scripts in the platform, Grant, but that's how we've always gotten our strategic partners say, look, I thought of you first because insert blank.
Yeah.
And so it really does change the narrative. You're an opportunity provider, and you're just asking for a nominal fee. So I just think Grant, you've really gotten inside the head of local businesses and team owners and real estate business owners to understand where everybody's, sticking point is. And yeah, so it's really cool.
Yeah, I think to piggyback on what you said, NAR did a study within the last several years, and there's approximately $86,000 in revenue generated at a point of a real estate transaction
There you go.
through real estate, mortgage, and ancillary home services. And that means that like this is just already like this is already a part of your business. I talked to so many agents who are like, yeah, I'm already doing this. I'm just not getting paid for it. And it's like, yeah, you're 90% of the way there. Let me give you the last 10%. It's like now you get monetization off of all of the opportunities.
Exactly. And that's why the tax code does the same thing. So, it just kind of, it makes sense. And then James, looks like you created an account.
I see that. I see that question.
Marketing versus, okay.
Yeah, so we actually have it's a two-sided marketplace, so people can buy leads and then they can sell leads. And you guys would all want to create your account in earn mode, which is when you're selling leads to home service providers. So that's what the differentiation is between Comarketing mode and earn mode. Every real estate agent that we work with creates their account in earn mode because you're the one sending the lead and getting paid for it.
Yeah, that's great. Who helps the vendor close the leads you're sending them? That's their job. But if they're paying for it, they're going to do it.
That's the beautiful part about this is you're not just like I said, you're not like hooking some Zapier integration up and sending every single Facebook lead you get from Ylopo. Like that's not what's happening. You're sending them leads that are asking for services. That's a cool part about like what's going on in Gary's team is like when somebody's like, hey, I need to get a painting quote. Great. You send a lead through the system. The painter is being connected to what equates to a warm referral. And the lead conversion, therefore, is much higher. So there's not a lot of like this coaching, like, oh, here's how you do it. Here's how you set up the system. Like none of that stuff works. None of that stuff is that way. And what I found is when you target the highest rated, highest reviewed service providers, they actually mostly all already have a really good system. And it's just a totally different world than real estate is, even though there's a lot of parallels. So there's not a lot of coaching vendors on closing leads. It's so much different than sending 100 leads to somebody and trying to get them to close them. You're sending one lead that asked to be connected to your preferred partner. So the conversation is quite different.
Yeah, and the point I've come to, depending on the size of your organization, this isn't really an administrative role that you give to somebody. I think this is literally just you. In the same way that you prospect, I think you take a couple of days and you just basically, I like the idea of the most reviews and the highest rating, because I think the other issue is scale. You want a business partner that can handle an increase of opportunity. And I think that kind of solves for that. What challenges does this pose to leads exchange within networking groups? I think well, I'll let you answer.
So like, if I'm understanding it correctly, like some people have Facebook groups or they have BNI groups or they have this. And so they will post their partners in those groups whenever somebody asks for a service. It's something I highly recommend because it's like, the reality is like, if you're in a conversation with 3 to 5 buyers or sellers in a given month, there are people, you got 3 to 5 transactions in a month going on. You are in conversation with usually 2, 3, 4 times that amount of people. So it turns every single conversation into an opportunity to monetize because this buyer that maybe isn't, or the seller that maybe isn't going to sell for 90 days is probably in the process of getting their house ready. and they need a painter, and they need a lawn and landscape company, and they need this. So it's like every single conversation you have becomes an opportunity for you to make an introduction, to send the lead, and to monetize and get paid. So you're really taking what you are already very well known for, which is connecting people in a local community, and you have a really simple way to get paid for it, which is something that real estate agents have not had. And so, yeah, that's what I would say. Share it everywhere for sure.
Super innovative. Love this. Grant, or Gary, I can see why you latched onto this, man. This is a really good idea.
Yep, it was something that I was approaching from a slightly different viewpoint, in terms of I wanted to make sure that our clients had the best possible experience, and we were giving lots of business to the vendors, which was great for them, and it was good for us because they were getting a good experience. But with the cost of acquisition, the overheads, as everybody knows, running a business becomes more and more expensive. So you have to start looking at ways to monetize what you're already doing. And then when we reached out and talked to the vendors, as Grant said, we tried it one way, which didn't really work. So trying it this way was something that, yeah, they all wanted to be on board with. Essentially getting the warm leads, because that's the agents are the gatekeepers. And as we've just talked about, I always talk about the top four, which is mortgage, title, insurance, and moving. But it's though when you start looking at the sale to the actual product of living in a house, there's so many peripheral services that we kind of drive, because you
Yeah.
should be the ones that the gatekeepers that are making the introductions to the vendors, which helps with your clients, because now they see you as, whoa, they know the best people in town. They're going to get me preferential treatment because I'm in this program with the Ashton Real Estate Group and all their agents. So it elevates everybody, it elevates
Yeah.
the ability of the vendors, because if they don't do a good job, guess who they're going to tell? They're going to come straight back to the agent, and then if
Yeah.
maybe you hear it once, but if you hear it 3 times, well, then you're out the program. And people want to stay in the program, so it just raises the tide for everybody. Is the way I
And
look
I
at it.
think piggybacking on Gary's point and James' question that just came through the comment section is we always ask the vendor to give basically VIP pricing and VIP scheduling, like Gary was saying, because he's asking, is it helpful for the vendor to give coupons? Or absolutely make it a part of what your discussion is like, well, if you want to be a part of the program, here's what it's going to cost. And then you need to come up with some special incentive that you give our clients that they can't really get anywhere else. And we see that all of the vendors are okay doing that. We've not had one vendor say, no, I'm not going to do that.
And I know we're way over, well, not way over, but we're a little bit over, but you went over this at the beginning, but why for Raja, why is this not a RESPA violation from your perspective?
Yeah, we don't do this with any RESPA regulated industries, mortgage, title, insurance, home warranty. We stay away from RESPA regulated categories. With RESPA, there's very clear guidelines on how those industries can work with real estate agents. And then every industry outside of those few is not regulated by RESPA. So you can do business with them in any way that you would like.
Yeah, so settlement service providers, Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act. If it doesn't have to do with settlement, that's kind of where most people are able to divide that line. But
yep.
I love having smart friends. Thank you guys for coming on. Everybody that was on just, really got a lot out of it. We're going to send this out to everybody that the couple hundred people that did register, make sure they see this. And, if people have other questions, just go to comarketing.com.
Yeah, just go to comarketing.com. I'll throw that link in the chat just one more time before everybody signs off. You guys all can create an account and play with this. Doesn't cost you anything to have a comarketing.com account. And then if you want to learn more about how you can take this to the next level, I'm going to post a link to my calendar so you guys can grab some time. There's already been quite a few of you that actually booked calls and created your accounts, so I'm excited for y'all to get started. This is going to be
awesome. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day. Thanks everybody.
Thanks, Gary.